Henry Cavill might be stepping away from his role as Superman. Then again, maybe he won't. It seems like no one actually knows, so we're going to do our best to break it down here on Comic Book Now. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Comic Book Now. I'm your host, Charlie Ridgely. It's good to be back here with you guys. And next to me is this beautiful man, Matt Mueller. Matt,
what's going on, everybody?
I'm so happy to see you.
It's so nice to do the show with you.
Yeah, it's been a while since you and I have been able to do this together.
You were my first show.
We're always going to remember that. We're always going to have that to share. And I'm glad that
there was
I got to be your first show.
There was no more awkward way to deliver that, and I'm glad I found it.
Well, now that we've cut through all the awkward tape, we're just going to get right into it. So let's begin with what is the biggest news probably of the entire year. Henry Cavill might be leaving his role as Superman. There were so many twists and turns to this story yesterday, and it only got more and more confusing as the day went on. But I'm going to try here and make more sense of it all right? So, first thing, Wednesday morning, THR broke the news that Cavill was leaving the role after negotiations for a cameo in Shazam broke down, and he opted to walk away. We were all devastated. Now, not long after that, Cavill's manager, Dani Garcia, threw everyone for a loop when she tweeted, "Be peaceful, the cape is still in his closet. WB Pictures has been and continues to be our partners as they evolve the DC Universe. Anticipate a WB statement later today." Well, instead of clearing things up, the official statement from Warner Brothers only made things more confusing. It read, "While no decisions have been made regarding any upcoming Superman films, we've always had great respect and a great relationship with Henry Cavill, and that remains unchanged." Finally, the icing on the whole big confusing cake comes from Cavill himself, who took to Instagram last night with this video and the caption, "Today was exciting, #Superman." And of course, you can't hear it right now. There's some weird music with dogs barking, playing in the background. He has his own toy in his hands. It's completely ridiculous, and the whole situation doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. But we're going to try to make sense of it, and to do that, I'm going to introduce one of my very closest friends. He is Skyping in with us live from the set of Midnight, Texas. It's Brandon Davis.
BD.
Brandon,
what's up, guys? Yeah, this is all a lot of fun, huh?
Yeah, what are you doing down there?
I am on the set of Midnight, Texas. I'm actually walking over to it right now. So while we talk about Superman, by the time we're done, I'll actually be in the center of the set. It's pretty cool. If you haven't watched the show, I did watch all 10 episodes before I came out here. It's a lot of fun. I think it's something you would like, Charlie.
Oh,
but,
yeah, no, I do like it. I watch it.
We need to talk about Superman.
We do need to talk about Superman. This has been crazy. And then we get reports today from TMZ that it's like, oh, maybe it's just a hoax. Like, what's your take on this? Because you're close to some different people in this situation. What's your take on what's going down?
You know, I don't think it's a hoax. I think that's not. I think that's a hoax itself. Mm-hmm. I think that look at Henry Cavill's ride as Superman, and look at what everything that has come out in the news and in the movies and from the press and from the critics and from the fans in the past 5 years since he made Man of Steel. Right. I love Man of Steel. I think it's a really great movie. And then you have Batman vs Superman, which critics didn't like, some fans liked. And then you have Justice League, where he becomes a meme for a mustache. So it's kind of like, he wants to make Man of Steel too. He doesn't want to just do a cameo in Shazam, right? And It doesn't seem like they're doing anything to make Man of Steel 2 happen. So I think in response to that, Cavill and his team are probably playing a little bit of hardball. Mm-hmm. They're doing things, trying to get negotiations, trying to get a movie made. And nothing has happened until yesterday. The word gets out that he's not. There's backlash, and now maybe the studio has to respond. That's just speculation, though. I mean, that's all anything seems to be at this point.
So let's go ahead and assume that this is Cavill's team trying to make a move to either get a pay raise or to get another Superman movie into production sooner rather than later. What happens next? Because now the ball seems to be in Warner Brothers' court.
Right. Oh, it definitely seems to be in Warner Brothers' court. And then at the same time, it seems that Cavill's camp has a little bit of control over the situation as well. They can agree to something or not. So I think that the teams have to come together. It seems like that's what they're doing. Dani Garcia seems to believe that there's going to be negotiations of some sort. And I think that's all it is that there are negotiations. They may have fallen through temporarily, and then this came through. And now it's time for those negotiations to restart after the reactions to the news yesterday.
Now, I know you and I we don't have any more information than everyone else does in the situation. We don't know what's going on. But just in your opinion, you've been around this situation, this franchise for a few years now. What do you think happens next with Cavill and with Superman and his place in DC?
I really hope it results in a Man of Steel 2. And I would love to see Chris McQuarrie direct that, wouldn't you?
No, absolutely.
But you know, you never know, because even if they start that now, it's going to be 2 to 3 years until we see it. You got to write it, you got to pre-pro it, you got to take it through production, you got to finish it. It's a Superman movie. There's a lot of visual effects in a film like that, so I don't think it's on the horizon immediately. But I also think that it would have to be fast-tracked, and you'd have to give Cavill the respect he deserves. I mean, if he shot a Shazam cameo, but it's not contracted yet, you got to make that guy happy, because we all want to see him in Shazam, you know? So,
and you've also got the idea that this movie might take a little while to get out there, but at least it's being made on his end, because right now, the way it was, you know, before all this happened, is he's just sitting around with a contract with DC, but he can't really go do all these other things because he's kind of in waiting with Superman.
Right, and my understanding is that there is no contract, which is the problem, which doesn't mean that he's out. It just means that he's not officially in right now. He's
just
obligated.
in limbo.
Right. So hopefully a contract comes up. Hopefully we get these movies made. And yesterday I sent a tweet. I said that in regards to this, I said that he was put into a mess of a universe, and by that I mean, you look at all of the news that comes out and all the headlines surrounding DC. There, every week it seems like we have a new movie in development. Every week, is Ben Affleck Batman or not? And that, I don't know if that's on Warner Brothers or the filmmakers or what, but it's just it gets very frustrating, as we've talked about on this show, when everyone's asking who should be the next Batman, and we don't even not have a Batman yet, and things like that get a little bit frustrating, I think, for the fans, and it's got to be frustrating for the studio and the actors as well.
Now, you know, like you said at the beginning, you're out there you're in Texas, correct? At the set of Midnight Texas.
I am in New Mexico on the set of Midnight Texas. It's pretty dang cool. I mean, this is all exterior stuff. These were all built just for the show. The show is coming back for its second season, and we're talking to the cast. We'll have lots of interviews on the site. But this is pretty cool. You can see they're getting ready to shoot right behind me. So it's a lot of fun. If you guys haven't watched it, it's a little bit of a campy supernatural show. It doesn't take itself too seriously. The actors are a lot of fun. The cast is a lot of fun to watch together. So I definitely recommend it.
So they're shooting season 2 right now. When does that come back?
That'll be back start early this fall, later this month, I think, maybe early October. I don't know the exact date, but season 1 is available on Netflix, and it's only 10 episodes. So I definitely recommend it. You'll see this street a lot. You'll see this exact street in the first season of Midnight Texas a whole lot. It's pretty cool, and we got to go into some of the locations. If I was more confident in my cell phone service holding out, I would take you inside those locations. But I'm in the middle of nowhere, New Mexico, so it might not work.
Now, I know you can't give us a bunch of spoilers, but before I let you go, what's the coolest thing you've seen since you've been out on that set?
Man, it's just they were shooting a scene yesterday, and they're on episode 8, so I can't really say what it was about because had some major spoilers in it. But it was really cool to see the cast as an ensemble working together, because I just think, like, they had 6 cast members in one scene, and they all had so many lines, and it was really cool to see how well they work together, how much work goes into it. And I mean, it's not a gigantic show. I mean, I've been on bigger sets than this. I mean, we've gone to the Avengers set, the Walking Dead set, and things like that. And this is a much more contained set, much more a smaller cast, a smaller crew, but everybody does so much work. And that was really cool to see. I mean, the set is tremendous too. I mean, look at this. This isn't a real city. This was built for the show.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
Awesome.
Right behind me, you have mountains, and right over there behind that building, there's a pet cemetery. So, you know,
now, did they build those mountains for the show also?
The mountains are also a huge part of the show. NBC went ahead and budgeted the mountains in.
Gotcha.
Those are genuine. Those are genuine New Mexico mountains.
Awesome. Well, Brandon, thanks for stopping by. I know you got a busy week, and you got a couple other places you're flying to this weekend. So thanks for stopping by for this, and hopefully, you know, we can get some more insight as we go forward with Henry Cavill and Superman. Maybe by the time you get back, we'll have more news to talk about.
Yeah, let's hope that dust settles. Thanks for having me, guys. Good luck with the show, Charlie.
We'll see you later. So the other big piece of news to come from the initial report regarding Cavill's exit as Superman was that Warner Brothers and DC are shifting their focus from one Kryptonian to another, and they're going all in on a Supergirl movie. Now, Matt, this is, it makes sense in terms of we're going to go from one Kryptonian to another. We're going to have Supergirl instead of Superman. But this does seem like a weird choice if you're just eliminating Superman altogether for now to go in on Supergirl, especially when you have a TV show going.
Does it make sense, though? I don't think it makes sense.
I don't think that part makes sense to go in when you have another property already rolling.
I don't think, okay, just on a base level,
right.
I don't think it makes sense because you can't, I know people will argue that Batman is the core of the DC universe, like period. Comics, movies, TV, whatever.
Right.
But you can't have a DC universe without a Superman. So it seems weird that we're going to table Superman, who we've underdeveloped anyway, even though we have a great person playing the part, and we're going to switch gears to another Krypton. Like, it's out of whack. Like, I feel like it's the same thing. They're jumping into another batch without really looking at the long-term ramifications of that. It has to be you have to have a Superman.
Right, and I like having the character of Supergirl. She's a really interesting character.
Yeah.
I want her to have her own movie, but at the same time, it seems odd to go forward with this big, all these movies, all this universe without really establishing your 3 core characters. I mean, Wonder Woman's set.
Yeah, Wonder Woman's
doing great. But Batman and Superman are still kind of in flux, and I feel like you got to get those ducks in a row before you can really move on.
Before you jump, because then in 3 years we're going to be in the same spot with Supergirl. We're going to be like, oh, they cast an amazing person as Supergirl. They had a so-so movie, and now they don't know what to do with her. So now we're going to jump back to like if you keep repeating the same mistakes, like get the core correct. Oh my lord!
I will play devil's advocate here. All that aside,
yeah,
I do think the prospect of a standalone Supergirl movie is really cool. And I think her story is one that's really unique. And fortunately, I think with this new direction of DC, this won't affect the TV show. The TV show's still going to happen and be popular, and people are going to like it. We just might get a second Supergirl getting on the big screen, and that by itself contained is a really cool idea, and I hope that they can work it out to where we get Supergirl and more Cavill Superman. And while we're excited about this potential Supergirl movie, there is another massive heroine heading to the big screen that we just can't stop talking about. Of course, that's Captain Marvel, Matt's favorite character ever. This movie's going to be epic, but it could also low-key set up the MCU for its next big major event, Secret Invasion. Let's find out how.
With Infinity War wrapping up next year, Marvel will undoubtedly be looking ahead for their next big tentpole storyline, and Secret Invasion has been speculated to be a big part of Phase 4 ever since we first got details about the Skrulls' debut in Captain Marvel. What's up guys, Chris Killian here, and is Captain Marvel setting up for the Skrull invasion? If you don't know, the Skrulls are a shape-shifting alien race able to take on the appearance of almost anyone, and in the famous Marvel Comics storyline Secret Invasion, it was revealed that key figures from the Marvel Universe had actually been Skrull impersonators for years. By doing so, the Skrulls effectively destabilized the world to a place where Marvel heroes were divided and at odds with one another, leading to civil war. Various factions of Marvel superheroes had to muster up their forces and fight off the invasion, all while having to navigate which of their fellow heroes they could trust, as no one could be sure who was or was not a Skrull. A lot of Marvel fans assumed that Captain Marvel would be adapting Marvel's iconic Kree-Skrull War storyline and figured it meant Carol Danvers would start on Earth and find herself drawn into a cosmic conflict between the Kree and Skrulls. However, upon learning more about some of the film's plot points, it's been revealed that she will start in the cosmos and come to Earth to stop a Skrull attack. This has much bigger implications for how the film will set up the next chapter of the MCU. The fact that the film is a prequel set in the 90s, almost 2 decades before the events of the Avengers, means that Marvel can quite easily plant the seeds for replacing several notable figures in the MCU with Skrull operatives. This could be further explored with Avengers 4, theorizing that the snap has left Earth defenseless. It could allow the Skrulls to further infiltrate the planet, even possibly replacing certain people who have faded out of existence. This revelation could turn into a huge problem for the remaining heroes, and the aftermath of Avengers 4 could lead to the Skrull hunt becoming priority 1. What do you think of this possible connection between Captain Marvel and the MCU's Secret Invasion? Let me know in the comments or tweet me at Chris Killian, and stay on ComicBook.com for all of the latest on Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel's still a little bit away, but the next major comic movie to hit theaters is just under a month from now. The Tom Hardy starring Venom, which we just found out is PG-13, is arriving on October 4th, and it's already eyeing some major box office records. According to tracking reports this week, Venom is expected to make between $60 and $70 million in its opening weekend, which would be the highest ever opening weekend in October box office history. Currently, Gravity holds the record for its $55.7 million bow in 2013. Just like Superman, the role of Batman is actively in flux, with Ben Affleck's Gotham future in doubt. Another actor will soon step into the role, and fan favorite choice Jon Hamm is definitely willing to don the cowl. Hamm told The Hollywood Reporter, "It depends on the script, what the story is. I'm a huge comic book fan, always have been." And he went on to say, "I am sure there's an interesting version of that being out there, and if they wanted to tap me on the shoulder and ask me to do it, why not?" And finally, the DC Universe app officially launches this weekend, and DC has released the first official photos from the upcoming Titan series, and honestly, I think they look pretty dope. I'm not gonna lie. Right here you see Brendan Thwaites as Dick Grayson, aka Robin. We've seen him in costume before. There's a new shot of him in action, and
It's a slick suit.
I really like the suit.
I like the suit.
I really dig the suit. I like another Robin suit less, so we're gonna talk about that in a second. And then you've got some Hawk and Dove, which have not been, talked about nearly enough.
They're awesome.
Alan Richardson as Hawk looks really, really cool. I love his suit. I love Alan Richardson in general. Thad Castle from Blue Mountain State. Always gonna love that guy. And then there's Dove, Minka Kelly. Her eyes are like, it looks a little weird, but the more you look at it, it's like, that looks like a comic book. Like it's really neat. It's really cool. Like there's blades on her back. Like
she's the original photo that sold me on the series.
Oh yeah,
was her.
I really, really dig what they're doing with Hawk and Dove. I'm really excited to see what they can bring to the table. And we also got a new shot of Raven.
Very nice.
Which I love. The little, if you notice, the pointed hood is very, very comic accurate. I love what they're doing there. And also, I'm really excited about Starfire. I know not everybody is. I am pumped about Starfire. I love Anna Diop. I love this new style. I'm into it.
I want a costume.
I think she'll get a costume. We'll see. Here's earlier today, EW released the first full photo of the team, and I think it's a little lackluster from a Photoshop standpoint, but I get what they're going for. I'm excited to see that like actually on the show and not just in a weird little photo.
It's like a bad prom photo.
It is a little weird. And there were some other photos that came right after that from IGN. What you're looking at here is Dick Grayson on the right, and on the left, or I'm sorry, on the left. On the right, you see Curran Walters playing Jason Todd. So that's Jason Todd. That's the other Robin. Dick Grayson has stopped being Robin, and this is the new one that replaces him, Jason Todd. And we all know Jason Todd goes on to be the Red Hood, but it looks like in this iteration in the Titans TV series, we're not going to see the Red Hood. We're going to see Jason Todd as Robin.
It's
Which
mini
they look
me.
a lot alike. Like they're like twins or little brothers or something. I don't know. But we don't have to wait that long to find out what's going to happen with this. The DC Universe app, the streaming service, launches on Saturday, Batman Day, September 15th.
Batman Day.
But Titans isn't premiere then. Titans premieres on October 4th for the first time at New York Comic Con. And then it will be available, the first episode, to everyone on the DC Universe streaming service on October 12th, which I'm really excited about that. I just want to gauge where you're feeling, how you think,
I am excited for Titans. There are some great things, like the photos, like Hawk and Dove, the Robin photo, I am sold on. I'm actually sold on Beast Boy as well. I know he gets a lot of flack, but it's just that photo, like, encapsulates, like, they look so awkward together. It's like one of these things does not look like the other. Like, it's very weird to see them all like that. Well, also, do you think that the Robins are dueling out for who has the better bowl haircut?
Oh,
Think so.
They do both have pretty gross haircuts, but there'll be a little rivalry there, I think, and we'll know much more about it at the beginning of next month. After, Matt, you're going to New York Comic Con, correct?
Yes.
Brandon's going to New York Comic Con. A couple of our other writers are going to Comic Con, and they will get the scoop. They'll see the premiere, and we will talk all about it for you guys. But until then, I can tell you what Matt and I are going to be doing until New York Comic Con. That is playing Spider-Man. That PlayStation Spider-Man game is incredible. It's all we've been doing. If you're anything like us, you've been playing the hell out of Spider-Man the last week. It's awesome. It's full of really, really exciting Marvel Easter eggs. But perhaps the coolest thing about the game is unlocking all of the crazy comic-accurate suits within it. Before we take your questions here at the end of the show, our good buddy Chris Killian is going to rank all of the epic suits that you can find in Spider-Man on PS4. Let's check it out.
Like any good superhero outing, Spidey's got plenty of costumes to choose from in Marvel's Spider-Man on PS4. With 27 suits plus more coming on DLC at our disposal, everyone's gonna have their favorites, and these are ours. What's up guys, Chris Killian here, and I'm ranking all of the suits in Marvel's Spider-Man. My least favorite suit is the electrically insulated suit, which might be helpful against Electro, but it's too bulky. The wrestler suit comes from Ultimate Spider-Man number 3, and it isn't as recognizable as Spidey's other wrestler suit from the original Sam Raimi movie. Spider-Man fighting in his undies is funny, but impractical. The noir suit looks cool, but it feels out of place in modern New York. The Spirit Spider suit has a similar problem. The Punk Spider suit is fun, but also silly. I'm not the biggest fan of the color scheme for the Secret War suit. The Fear itself suit looks great, but the gauntlets are a little too big. The Spider Armor MK3 looks like Spider-Man cosplaying as Red Hood from Arkham Knight. The homemade suit from Homecoming looks spot on, but it's naturally not the best suit. Spider Armor MK2 is sleek in all the right ways. The Spider-Man 2099 white suit will do. The dark suit makes Spidey look like an actual Black Widow. The negative suit looks coolest at night. Spider-Man with a dash of Michael Jackson and you get the Last Stand suit. Classic suit damaged. This looks great in-game for story purposes, but I'd see little reason to choose this suit over the others. This black variant suit is blurred for spoiler reasons, but trust me when I say it's awesome. The stealth suit is basically Spidey if he was in a Tom Clancy game. Spider Armor MK4 is pretty much Spidey's classic suit if his classic suit featured bulletproof armor. The Spider-Man 2099 costume looks every bit as cool as it did in the 90s. The Scarlet Spider suit is the Ben Reilly throwback a ton of fans were waiting for. The Velocity suit is an original suit for the game that looks inspired by Tron. The Iron Spider suit from Infinity War even comes with the Iron Spider arms. The vintage comic book suit looks amazingly fun and features comic book bubble quips. The Stark suit is the MCU costume we all know and love. With the Advanced suit, Insomniac have crafted an iconic white emblem that serves as the cornerstone suit of this game. But no matter what suit you choose, number one will forever and always be the classic Spider-Man suit. What's your favorite Spider-Man suit in the game? Tweet me at Chris Killian or tell me in the comments, and thanks for watching.
So, Spider-Man's been awesome, and I really love it. I'm going to go home tonight and play it as soon as the Ravens game is over. And we're about to take your questions, so be sure to drop them live in the comments. But before we do that, I do want to take some time and give a special shout out tonight and this weekend to our fearless leader, ComicBook.com's head of video, Brittany, is getting married. There's her and her fiance Norwood. They're getting married up near their hometown this weekend. So, you know, all the best to them, and I'm sure you guys will all wish them happy life and luck and all good things in the comments. We're really excited for you guys, for Brittany and Norwood. Thanks for being there for us, Brittany, and leading this ship. And you know, we're excited to see what life holds for you next. So congratulations, you guys. And with that, we got some questions, Matt.
Quick thing, real quick. Someone asked a great Wolverine question about him being alive again.
Oh, yeah?
And it won't let me scroll to that anymore, so if you could repost it in the comments, it'd be awesome. Okay, so first one here we've got from Andrew, who asked, which MCU role would you cast Cavill in?
Okay, so let's break that down. We're kind of assuming that if Cavill is no longer with DC, he has the opportunity to come to Marvel, and obviously Marvel fans would love to have him. There's been a lot of talk of Captain Britain. Some people have mentioned that. I think actually Reese mentioned that on Twitter at one point as well. So I'll let you answer this one first, Matt, because I know you have some ideas. If he is going to come into the MCU, where would you fit that in?
Okay, so if I was going to say, I would say Mr. Sinister. That is, if, you know, Fox and that deal goes through, then they have access to that character. If not, then the only people I could really come up with is like Adam Warlock, Ben Urich. Like, there's nobody that sticks out.
It's boring for Cavill. I think
I know, but there's no one that sticks out.
Yeah, I'm with you. I kind of had one like that too. You know, like a Fox. If the Fox deal goes through and those characters happen, I think Cavill could make a really cool Magneto. Like, Fassbender did a really good job with it. I think Cavill could. I like him as a villain. I watched Mission Impossible. I like him as a villain. And with that, someone on Twitter had an awesome idea that they mentioned to me, and it's become my favorite idea of this whole Cavill thing. And that's Cavill playing Kraven the Hunter for Spider-Man or for Black Panther. Like, I think that's really cool. I think he's built for it. I think he has a look for it. I love him as like that really rough villain. That could be really sweet, honestly. As much as I love Superman, love Cavill's Superman, I don't know. I'm kind of excited about this.
I can see him as
the more I think about it, the more I'm like, oh, please make this happen. So that would be really, really neat. But obviously, like, that won't happen until we know something about this DC situation. What else do we got, Matt?
So from Wim Sad Mojo, we have, since the James Gunn news has been too mainstream, which future MCU films would you like to see Taika Waititi direct? He recommends Nova.
Wim Sad Mojo.
That's a great name.
I say it every time, but it's like my favorite name ever. I have really hard time with that because, you know, the obvious answers we're gonna cancel out. We're not gonna count the obvious answers here. We're not gonna say Guardians of the Galaxy 3, and we're not gonna say another Thor movie. And that really, I think, kind of takes away all the things that people talk about with Taika and Marvel. And I think that a good option, because he's got an offbeat sense of humor. I think you could do something like Howard the Duck. That would be an easy one. But I also like him doing kind of an action-y franchise and bringing humor to it. I think there are characters like Ghost Rider and other people in the Midnight Suns that have a really dark sense of humor, and I think Taika could really make them fun again. You know, he could make them exciting, and we could kind of have some version of Ghost Rider. It could be Danny Ketch, it could be Felipe Reyes, it could be, you know, it could be Johnny Blaze, it could be any of them, but give this like really wacky, weird movie that's really fun and, you know, really goofy, and maybe Nick Cage can play the Sam Elliott role from the first one.
That's a good pick. That's a good pick.
Honestly, though, if we're being super obvious, before I let you answer, just to finish, like, I don't want him to have another Marvel movie, so that's the right one for him. What I think is the best superhero movie for him of all is Booster Gold. I think Booster Gold adds up perfectly for Taika Waititi and his talents over at DC, but that all remains to be seen.
That
If
would
you're,
be a
you're putting
great pick
Taika
as well.
in the MCU, what would you do?
Well, because this is actually possible through a deal because of Sony, I think the perfect movie for him would be a Jessica Drew Spider-Woman movie.
Okay.
Because that book, Dennis Hopeless's run of that book was hilarious, but it found ways to use kind of like Taika used characters like, you know, in Ragnarok and made them funny, like Korg, like making Korg into something, you know. He could do that with, like, the villains they were working with was like Big Wheel and the Porcupine, like these random D-list villains. I think he would be great, especially later on. You could always do it, because she's funny. It would be like having a Taika Spider-Man, since you can't have that because that's already kind of locked in or whatever. It'd be like the next best thing. I think would be amazing.
I could totally see it. I mean, obviously, if we're being candid, my first thought was a Korg movie, and I'm like one of 6 people who would like actually go watch
I would go see that 7.
But
I'd go see that.
So that would be great. Anyway, Reese asking the questions that he's heard there's a Hellboy trailer debuting at New York Comic Con and a panel. We don't know like for sure there's going to be a trailer, but like there's going to be a panel. The cast is going to be there. I would be shocked if they didn't have a trailer or a sizzle reel.
I would say a teaser,
at that panel.
at least a teaser.
Yeah, there's going to be something at least shown at the panel. Whether they release it online, I don't know. They probably will, but my guess is we will have that trailer by the first week of next month. So I'm really looking forward to that because I love Hellboy. I love David Harbour. So Matt, we got time for one more question.
Oh,
what do we got coming?
Well,
or 2 more questions if you have.
Well, actually, so Angela Lopez, thank you for sending that question again. I heard Wolverine is coming back to life. Is this in the MCU as well? If so, who's going to play him?
I don't know anything about that. I think it's all just rumors and speculation things. He's coming back to life in the comics.
In the comics,
That's
he's already alive in the comics.
It's a whole thing.
But who do you think would play
it.
Wolverine if the deal goes through? Who do you think?
I don't know. Because obviously I don't want to see him with Hugh Jackman play it. But you got to give it to a younger.
He left. And, he did his thing.
You gotta reset it. If the deal goes through,
give me somebody.
I mean, my first thought has always been Taron Egerton from Kingsman do like a young version of Wolverine and kind of. But then again, Wolverine doesn't age, so that would have to be like a origin story set way in the past. I don't know. I don't want to see Wolverine again for a while, for being honest.
What? In the MCU?
No, because we had Hugh Jackman, and he was perfect, and let it die for a minute. Like, don't be the comic books. He died in 2014 in the books, and he's already back. Like, let it sit. Like, let it exist without him for a minute. We don't need it.
I want 80s Sylvester Stallone.
Well, we can't have 80s Sylvester Stallone because that's in the 80s, and time travel doesn't exist. Unless Avengers 4 introduces time travel into the actual universe. Then
I want
we're not doing that.
No, I want Cobra Sylvester Stallone.
I don't know what to do with you, honestly.
Last question is from Isaiah Drake, who asks, if you can bring a DC villain or hero into the DCU, who would it be and why?
I mean, if you're talking about like the continuity thing, I don't want to bring anybody. I want them to have their own movies for a little bit before you try to introduce anyone else.
That's not what they're gonna do.
I know. But hopeful thinking. What I want to see, one of my favorite characters, you and I have had a lot of discussions about this, Matt. I love the character Ragman. Especially, he had a new series, last year?
Really good, actually.
And Ragman was really good. A really interesting backstory, something we haven't seen before. You kind of got this tie to the spiritual. It's almost like a Moon Knight type of character. You got this tie to ancient powers and to the military and to the Middle East. And I think there's a really, really cool idea out there for a movie or a TV show based around Ragman, but I doubt that's happening because there are a lot of other things that Warner Bros. Has to work out in DC for now.
It's very true.
Like Superman and Batman. I don't know. Matt, if you were going to bring somebody in.
Okay, so I really want someone to bring in Starro, and I don't. And I just want to see it on screen. I want to see what someone would do.
Like kind of like
if
DC
giant
had
starfish.
like a collector's museum.
Yeah.
And Starro's just hanging out. Okay.
It's just that. But my legit answer would be, while not my favorite Green Lantern, because that's Kyle Rayner.
You just aired, like you pounded like nothing.
Air.
It's like, hi, no one's here, but
Kyle Rayner knows I'm here, dang it. Okay, I keep throwing this pen. So Jessica Cruz is my legit pick because it would be great to get a Hispanic Green Lantern into the mix. There's already going to be Hal and Jon Stewart. I hope Gardner. But, it'd be great to have that. Yeah. I would love for that. Plus, also, it's very important for when Green Lantern Corps does come around for them to have some kind of female presence. So if it's Sornik, It's fine, cool, but if not, I would love Jessica Cruz.
Jessica Cruz is a really cool character, and all the Green Lanterns are really, really fun. And I'm looking forward to that movie if it actually ever happens. Please, Jeff Johns, just write that ship and make it happen. That's all we have for today. Hopefully, next time we see you, there is some more actual news on Henry Cavill as Superman. We might know more, we might not. No one has any idea what's happening, but until next time, until we see you again, I'm Charlie Ridgely. This is Matt Mueller, and we love you guys.
Deuces.